Hello. Hello again. My name is Clay, and you might have seen some of my videos reading children's books and doing a few skits, showing a few video games. And to end the year of 2019, the Christmas, the holiday season, and New Year's, I found a special book. This children's book is not exactly totally happy. It's a kind of book that's for adults and children. Something I saw on the internet, on news in Japan. And some American children writer was so impressed they decided to write a story, have it illustrated, and I'm going to read it to you today. And here it is. One moment, please. I hope this works. I thought maybe, I saw this one guy get more than 1,000 clicks. He done something like this, and you couldn't even look at his book. It was just a little bitty square, and over 1,000 people watched it. And I thought, well, maybe it'll work for me. Only I tested the camera, and the book will be a little bigger, as big as I could get it. So here it is. This book is called The Phone Booth in Mr. Hirota's Garden. Now this was a phone booth on top of a hill by the ocean in Japan. And this is a fictional story about the real phone booth in Japan that has a lot of glass window panes, and he made it out of wood. And here it is. There it is. Let me get it as close as I can. There it is, Mr. Hirota's phone book. The Phone of the Wind. You can see that white phone booth. It's like an old-fashioned British phone book. Phone booth. Phone booth. I meant phone booth. I always say I don't even use a phone book hardly anymore. It's a phone booth. Sorry. But I did that when I was rehearsing too. So the British phone booth is red. He painted his white, and it's similar to a British phone book. So here we go. The phone booth in Mr. Hirota's garden. I hope you can see this when I turn the pages. One moment. Here we go. I wonder if I can read this without my glasses. I doubt it. No, I can't. So, here we go. Glasses and all. Here we go. The Phone Booth in Mr. Hirota's Garden. A great book. Since we've had a year of hurricanes, tsunamis, and a few days ago there was a strong wind in the Philippines and flooding. We've seen a lot of floods this year. We've seen a lot of volcanic eruptions. Krakatoa, one in Hawaii. Lots of disasters. And this is based on the disaster of the tsunami of 2011. And he built this the year earlier so that he could get over the grief of a cousin, the real guy who made the phone booth. So here we go. I hope I wasn't too long. Mr. Hirota's Garden. There is the Phone of the Wind. Here we go. I hope you haven't turned me off yet, but it's not easy to do. It's a great story. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Every morning, Makia visited his neighbor, Mr. Hirota. Together they sat at the edge of his garden, looking down at the small figures on the harbor. They made a game of spotting Makio's dad as he unloaded the morning catch, and Mr. Hirota's daughter Fumika as she cleaned and gutted the fish. "I see them," Makio would say. Mr. Hirota would laugh. "You win again, Makio." It was one of their favorite games. They were playing it when the shaking started and the big wave came. And here's the game they play of looking at his father and Mr. Hirota looking at his daughter down there by the boats, by the bay, by the ocean. Makia's father loved the ocean. He'd say, "Listen, Makio, the ocean is saying good morning." The lapping waves would whisper, "Oh hee-oh, oh hee-oh, oh hee-oh." Makia always returned the greeting. "Ohayo gozaimasu, ocean." But on the day the big wave came, the ocean didn't whisper, "Oh hee-oh." It roared. Yes, and it roared. And here they are, listening to the waves. Oh hee-oh, oh hee-oh, oh hee-oh. There we go, Makio, listening to Ohio. I feel like I'm showing you the instructions to a video game. This guy used to show them on YouTube. I haven't seen him do it lately. He's on again, but now he's messing around with I think the Atari Age forums or something. So that day, the waves didn't go ohio, ohio, they roared. Rumble, boom, crash with the waves. Rumble, boom, crash with the waves. Makio watched as the wave got bigger and bigger. "Oh! Oh!" cried Mr. Hirota. A big watery hand swept into the harbor, snatching everything and everyone in its grasp. It even took Makio's voice. I want to show you this again. The big wave rumble. Everyone lost someone the day the big wave came. Silence hung over the village like a dark, heavy cloud. Silence hung over the village like a dark, heavy cloud. Then one day, rat-tat-tat, thump, 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 Makio watched from his window. Mr. Hirota was building something, but what was he building? I don't know. Oh, yes, I know. I'm sorry. But Makio didn't know. So him and even his cat was listening. What's he making out there? Rat-tat-tat. Sounds like he's sanding wood, sawing wood. And here is the picture of Makio listening to rat-tat-tat. And there we go. And let's see what he's doing. It was a phone booth, painted white and with many panes of glass. His voice floated out. Kumika, it's your father. I miss you. Fumika. That was Mr. Hirota's daughter. Makio was confused. Fumika had been snatched by the ocean, just like Makio's dad. And here is Mr. Hirota walking to the phone booth to talk on the telephone for the phone of the wind, talking to his daughter. Here we go. There we go. Take a good look. And I hope the camera's showing it. I got a lot of lights lit here. I did my very best. And every time you do something, always try to do your very best. When Mr. Hirota left the booth, Makio crept inside. An old-fashioned phone sat on a table. It had no plugs or wires. It was a phone connected to nowhere. So here he is. Here's Makio looking at the phone of the wind in the phone booth. The phone of the wind in the phone booth. Okay. I hope this turns out. One moment, please. You know, it is cold and allergy season. I hope you can see part of my Christmas tree. There is the star. They would call it the Star of Bethlehem because the star rested over the town where the birth of Jesus happened. At this time, right now, this is the time of Christmas. Another time of hope. Now let's get back to the story right now. Mr. Hirota visited his phone booth every day. Soon the other villagers did soon. Their voices, I will say again, their voices floated on the wind. Hello, cousin. Today I fixed the boat. I will fish again soon. Hello, Mom. I planted a tree for you today, a maple, your favorite. Sister, how are you? I sure miss you. I rode your bike today. It fits me now. Hello, my love. I painted our bedroom your favorite shade of blue. Makia went down to the harbor. For the first time since the big wave came, he used his voice. He screamed at the ocean. The waves lapped gently. Oh heo, oh heo, oh heo. Makia sighed and looked up. Mr. Hirota's phone booth sat high on the hill like a lighthouse. It's up here. Can you see it? The phone booth is up here high on the hill. Well, here's Makio, imagining seeing the shadow of him and his father holding hands on the ocean while he sits on the dock. I pause a little bit so maybe you can think about it. I hope you can see the pictures. The climb back up the hill was tiring. Makio was hot and sweaty. The phone felt cool in his hand. And here he is, climbing back up to the hill, to the phone in the wind. He's going again. There we go. Climbing the hill to the phone in the wind. Oh, I hope. Here we go. Dad, it's me. Can you hear me? I yelled at the ocean. I said, good morning anyway. Guess what? I did really well on my math test. The cherry blossoms are in full bloom. Everything's pink. Mom painted your room your favorite shade of blue. I miss you, Dad. I miss you. Here's Makio talking on the phone. Here's Makio saying, I miss you, Dad. You know, it's hard for me to be sad. Sometimes I try to have a sense of humor when it's not the right time to be, sometimes it's a time to be sad. And I've had sad things happen in my life. I lost my brother a couple of years ago. And the funny thing about it is that I can't talk on the phone in the wind in Japan. But the funny thing about it, a few days ago, I had a dream. I dreamed I was at home talking with my brother as I was walking around the bedroom. For some reason, I left home and went a ways. And then just like this book, the phone in the phone book, phone booth, with the phone is connected to nowhere. I called my brother and he answered me and he laughed and I talked and he talked. And it was so real because I could hear his voice. In a dream, you can hear him talking. I heard my brother talking and I heard him over the phone. First time I ever dreamed of calling anybody on the phone. It was really nice to hear from my brother again, even though it was a dream. So here we go, back to the phone booth on the hill. Every morning, Makio looks down at the harbor. When the ocean says, "Good morning," Makio thinks of his dad. Someday he'll return the greeting, but for now, he makes a game of spotting Mr. Hirota from high on the hill. "I see you," Makio calls. Mr. Hirota smiles and waves. It's one of their favorite games. They wave at each other. One's on the hill, one's down by the bay. Just like he did when his father was alive. Just like Mr. Hirota did when his daughter was alive. And here they are. Here is Makio waving at Mr. Hirota. This time Makio is on the hill. And Mr. Hirota is helping to clean up the damage that the ocean caused to the bay, so that maybe once again the townspeople can go fishing again. There it is. Hello, hello, hello there, Makio. Hi, Makio. Hello. Well, I didn't know, but this ends the story. I'll read the author's note and then maybe show a clip or two of the real phone on the hill. So here's the author's note. And here it is. I don't know if you can see that. It's a picture of the real phone booth. After the death of his cousin in 2010, a man named Itaru Sasaki built a phone booth in his garden as a way to deal with his grief. Although the phone was disconnected, Sasaki believed his words rode the wind to his loved ones. A year later, when the tsunami struck his coastal town of Usachu, thousands of mourners flocked to the phone booth, longing to connect to their missed loved ones. When I heard the story of Itaru Sasaki's phone of the wind, I was struck by the beauty of how a simple object, a disconnected phone, could help a grieving community. It was a sense of hope and resilience that inspired me to fictionalize the story for a young audience. I hope that, like Makio, readers will see that sometimes in sadness there is beauty. In this case, it is found within the walls of Mr. Hirota's phone booth. You must forgive me. My mind is going crazy. And here is the back of the book. And here is the front of the book. And I had something to say. I hope this hasn't been too long. Earlier I was talking about that this is Christmas, the time of hope, of the Savior's born, the baby Jesus, the star that led the wise men to Bethlehem. And there was something else I wanted to tell you. I have a cross around my neck, but this is a special cross. I think you can see it now. This cross is made out of wood from an olive tree that came from Bethlehem, where the baby Jesus was born. I bought this a few weeks ago at church. It was the neatest thing I've ever seen. A cross is one thing, but to come from Bethlehem, the birth of Jesus, it meant really something to me. And they were out of them. And I asked the woman, and she said, "I think we have some more." Underneath the table was a bucket, and in there was one more. And I got it. Made out of olive tree wood from Bethlehem, this cross. And I just wanted to add very quickly, if you're still here, if you're not, maybe you're listening to the phone of the wind. Of course, I feel the sadness and the grief. I have to read this. I can't remember it all. I feel the sadness and grief of those who lost loved ones in the tsunami. And my heart went out to them too as I watched. If I watched the news clip. And I'm going to show a clip of some people visiting a Taru's phone booth. The phone of the wind. And I told you that I also lost my brother recently due to seizures. And sometimes the grief comes to me when I'm driving my car. Recently, here's the one about the dream. I don't have to tell you, I dreamed I talked to him on the phone. Just like the phone of the wind. It sounded so real. He was laughing and talking like nothing was wrong. I don't ever remember dreaming about talking on anybody on the phone like I said. When I woke up, I was glad to have had the dream. It seemed so real. And I'm sure it makes the visitors of the phone booth feel better. And again, my heart goes out to the people who lost loved ones in the great tsunami in Japan. In this time of Christmas, the birth of Jesus, as I was talking and showing you my cross from Bethlehem, this birth of Jesus gives hope. As we well know, there's people that mention that at the time of the Christmas season. He came to save all who believe and call on His name. We're all headed for God's judgment, whether we like it or not. And I believe, yes, we're all headed there. But you can head there as a saved person or as an unsaved person. Because we lost our perfection when Adam sinned, we were perfect. And God expects perfection for anybody that's going to live in His heaven. Because He does not tolerate sin. The criminal, this cross that I showed you here, Jesus died with two other people that broke the law. And they were paying for their sins on the cross. They both mocked Him at first, but then one of the men on the cross changed his mind. And the criminal on that cross next to Jesus said, "We have done wrong. This man has done nothing wrong. He was there to pay for our sins because He was sinless." And as the guy on the cross saw, he had done nothing wrong. Jesus said, "Today you shall be with me in paradise," to the other man on the cross. He simply admitted that he committed sins. He was repenting in his heart for committing crimes and asked Jesus to remember him because he believed He could take him to heaven. We all have committed wrongdoings, and we all should do the same. So, if you're still here, how about a clip of the real phone of the wind? Oh, egad, I'm afraid this video may be a long one, but oh, if you can bear, I just think that some people probably haven't seen this, and so I'm gonna have to move the camera, so bear with me. Here we go. Let's see. I have it set up to show the phone in the wind. All I have to do, is turn on the computer, and I already have it set, but I have to position the camera, and then a short little clip of the phone in the wind. Oh my, this camera. I will just trust that everything is still all right. Okay, here it is, the phone in the wind. Here we go.
Here, even the train station has yet to be rebuilt. Up on a small hill overlooking the town stands the phone of the wind. Sachiko Okawa lives in this town and has brought along her grandchildren. She often visits this phone booth.
Hello, Grandpa. How are you? I'll soon be in the 4th grade. Can you believe it? Dana will be in 2nd grade next year. This year. Oh, this year. Grandma's doing well too. I'll pass you to Dana. Grandpa, I finished my homework. We're all fine.
Bye bye.
I think he heard us. Yeah, he feels he
Sachiko's
can hear.
husband died in a tsunami. He took joy in seeing his grandchildren grow. When the kids don't have school, she brings them here.
Bye. Goodbye, and I hope you liked the film. Domo arigato, the sky must star. Thank you very much. There's some more going in the phone of the wind. It's your turn today, so you go first.
I hope I'll be able to say something.
There goes another one. And I hope I can keep this on YouTube.
Hello. Hello, Masa.
何年ぶりだよね。
It's been a while, hasn't it?
あのね、みんな元気だ。
Everyone's doing well.
あんたの声も聞きたいけどさ、聞こえないしね。いつもね、車が来るとあれ帰ってきたのかなと思ったりしてね。そういうことがね。あんたも心に残していった子供たちのことは心配だと思うけども、まあみんなそれぞれにね頑張ってるから、みんな元気出るから、あんたも安心してちゃんと落ち着いてね。
Kids you left behind are all doing well. I really don't know if you can read the words at the bottom. If you are, then I'm just probably a nuisance. As you see how sad it is, talking on the phone of the wind. But she was so glad that she came. Thanks to her friend bringing her, I suppose. She says, I was able to talk to him.
Speaking to her son, who died in the tsunami.
So I got to end this video. I hope you liked it. This is Clay turning it off. Till later. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.